Sky Jackson is a YN. She is a YERKY. If y'all don't remember her controversial past where she was talking slick at the mouth, but she really not about that life. She's one of them suburban girls that be fly at the mouth with the girls that's actually in the streets and about that life. And then until it comes to her front door, now she's running, or she runs to her mom, or she runs to the law.
Use it for my hair. You're so gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you for the gifts. Do you speak French? No. I don't speak any other language than English. I feel like at this point it would be just too hard to learn.
No one can convince me that Sky Jackson is not weird. How many times are you going to screenshot somebody's newborn baby, post it to your story, and act like it's your son? And it's not even the fact that she probably thinks the baby is cute. She's just trying to get the clicks on Snapchat so she could get paid. Like, baby, Disney already paid you. Is the check not clear?
Thanks for the gifts. If you're a top gifter, comment down below so I can follow you back. And let's get this live to let's get it to 500,000 likes.
Nah, deadass, something wrong with her. Because to have been arrested and accused of battery against your boyfriend and then think you don't let him be like, thanks for the gifts. Like, go heal somewhere. Like, go talk to a therapist. Like, go talk to your lawyer. Like, why are you on live?
The funniest part about Sky Jackson being pregnant by a YN named YERKY is the fact that he don't even like her. Like, this man tweeted word for word, "On WAP, I'm salty I got this dumbass Disney Channel be pregnant. I hate this hoe."
Where the hood niggas at? Where's the hood niggas at? I'm looking for the hood niggas. Come on. Come with me. I'm looking for the hood niggas. Where's the hood niggas at?
Sky Jackson is one of those names that you've probably heard 100 times, whether you grew up watching Disney Channel or just saw her trending for saying something bold online. She's been famous for so long, and that almost feels like the internet grew up with her. And that's part of what makes her so fascinating, because when someone spends their whole life in the public eye, you start to wonder how much of that person that we actually do know. She's been this cute kid, the Disney star, the meme, the activist, the problematic celebrity, depending on who you ask. But underneath all that noise is a girl who's had to navigate fame, identity, and adulthood in front of millions of people who never stop watching.
You did your first fashion week when you were 4 years old.
I've been modeling. Yeah, that's me.
That is the cutest thing ever.
I know. I was so little and small. I was trying to keep up with the girl.
Oh, you were keeping up. You were definitely keeping up. What do you remember? Do you remember it?
I do. I remember being the smallest one backstage. I was like, I'm only 5 feet tall, so at that time, I was like little.
That's not an easy thing to do, especially when the world just keeps trying to freeze you in time as the character that made you famous. So in this deep dive, we are going to talk about Sky Jackson, the real person behind the headlines, the tweets, and the Disney sparkle. We'll speak about how she got here, what shaped her, and why people cannot just seem to look away anytime her name is being brought up. But before we get into all of that, let's start at the beginning. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Joel, and today we are finally doing something that I have been planning to do for a very long time now. Welcome to the very first episode of my new series titled Where Is. So here is the idea. This series is going to be all about celebrities and influencers who used to be everywhere and then suddenly just disappeared. You know the ones, they were always trending, always showing up on your For You page, and then out of nowhere it's like they just vanished from the internet. Yes, those people. I've been wanting to do this for a very long time, and I am so honestly excited to finally start. Fun fact, Kelly Stout was meant to be my very first person, but I felt like the way that I was recording it, because I recorded it dead in the night, the way I recorded it, I felt like it was not going to be like a proper introduction for my very first person. But you know what, I also want you guys to be a part of it. If there is someone that you've been wondering about, someone that you think has kind of fallen off the radar, just drop their names in the comment section. I might cover them in the next episode. And of course, do not forget to like, share, subscribe if you care, and I really do hope that you do, because we are so close to 50k subscriber, which is actually wild. So in case you're new here, November 2023, I literally had 123 subscribers or something like that. So the fact that we are close to 50k subscribers is something that blows my mind. So thank you guys so much for the constant support. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Some of you have been sending me DMs and sending me emails. I am just so grateful for the community that I have built, and honestly, you guys do not know how much you have changed my life. Also, quick plug-in in case you didn't know, I do have a podcast called The Plot Thickens with Jewelaminina, so check that out too. I'm going to leave it in the description box so that you guys can click on it, because most of you have been asking me about like podcast episodes because you want to listen to me while you're driving and things like that. So literally, I've had this podcast open since like 2024, but I don't really promote it, so I'm going to promote it from now on. So that being said, let's get into it. Welcome to episode 1 of Where Is, and today we're talking about SKAI Jackson. Side note quickly, Cameron Suzanne recently did a video on SKAI and she killed it, so make sure to check hers out after you finish this one. And also, this isn't going to be the first time that we've spoken about SKAI Jackson on this channel either. The first time was last year in a video titled Stop Popping Babies to Losers, and honestly, the title says it all. I'll link it down in the description box so that you can watch that one later. But for now, this episode is all about SKAI. So where is SKAI Jackson? SKAI Jackson was born on April 8, 2002, and I think that will make her an Aries, in Staten Island, New York. Most people know that she's black, but not everyone knows that she's Afro-Honduran. So her granddad on her mom's side is from the Honduras, so there is this blend of cultures in her family that she's always been so proud of. Her parents split up when she was so young, so it was mostly SKAI and her mom Kaya figuring things out together. From early on, SKAI just had that spark. You could tell that she belonged in front of a camera. She was really cute as a child. She was confident and she had this natural ease about her. Her mom noticed it too and decided to give modeling a try. Being in New York just made it easier since opportunities were everywhere. So Kaya started sending out SKAI's photos, and before SKAI even turned 1, Wilema Kids actually signed SKAI.
So I started modeling when I was 9 months old, and that came about because my mom and my aunt were talking one day, and my aunt was like, you know what, you should really put her in the business or just send her pictures to a modeling agency. And my mom was like, I don't know. She was like, you know what, I'll just do it. And she sent my pictures, and 3 agencies called on the same day, and they all wanted me. So my mom went with Wilhelmina, which is my first agency, and I just kind of been working ever since then. So modeling like heavy, and then my first commercial at 1, first movie at 4, like it just kept going from there and there and there.
Not even working yet and she was already working. Like honestly, I feel like SKAI was a bit exploited by her mom, especially when she was younger, but that's beside the point. By her first birthday, SKAI had been in ads for Fisher Price, Parenting Magazine, and a few other big names. She even did a Parenting Magazine cover with her mom, which ended up being one of the best-selling issues. That cover was featured on Live with Regis and Kelly during their Beautiful Baby contest, giving her a very small taste of national attention. As she got older, things kept moving. She later joined Ford Models and started doing commercials for Coke, Pepsi, Target, and Kmart. She even modeled for Baby Fat, which was so huge at that time, and her face also ended up on Times Square billboard. Around 2008, she became that kid from the Band-Aid commercial, because that ad, from what I have heard, was playing non-stop, and people might not have known her name, but they definitely recognized her face.
I am stuck on Band-Aid brand, his Band-Aid stuck on me. I am stuck on Band-Aid brand, cause germ don't stick on me. Was there home on site no matter what? Or fingers, toes, and knees. Oh, I am stuck on Band-Aid, cause Band-Aid up to me.
But behind all of that, life wasn't easy. Kaya, like I said earlier, she was a single mom working while also making sure that SKAI Jackson didn't miss auditions or shoots. Most of them happened during the day, and so she was constantly juggling schedules. And modeling doesn't pay as much as people think, especially when it comes to kids. Most of SKAI's money had to be locked away in a trust until she turns 18, so they weren't swimming in cash as one would expect, because after a while Kaya started looking towards acting, and modeling was unpredictable, but acting could mean that SKAI Jackson would get something that is much more steadier. So SKAI started auditioning for roles, and things just slowly shifted. In 2006 she appeared on Sesame Street, and a year later she got her first movie role in Liberty Kid. So Liberty Kid was an indie film that got a little bit of attention. Around that time she earned a scholarship to the Dance Theatre of Harlem. She spent 2 years training in ballet, tap and jazz, which taught her discipline and focus. Those lessons just helped her later when she started landing small parts on TV. She appeared in shows like Rescue Me, Royal Pains and Boardwalk Empire. In 2009 she was in The Rebound with Catherine Zeta-Jones, which was a big deal for someone that was SKAI's age. Then came voice acting for Nickelodeon, shows like Bubble Guppies and Dora the Explorer. She voice acted for them, and she also worked on Team Yumizumi, Author, and even the Smurfs movie, where she was literally credited as Kicking Girl. All those small jobs just built her up. Each one just helped her get better and more confident. She wasn't just the child from the commercials anymore. Acting gave her a space to express herself and also have fun, and that's when she knew this was what she wanted to do for a very long time.
Joanna loves her family. She's very loving. She loves to play.
It is Mr. and Mrs. Watson, yes? And this is your son, isn't it?
This isn't our son. This is just a little juvenile delinquent boy that we feel sorry for and let us follow us around some of the time.
SKAI's early years weren't about luck, they were about work, sacrifice, and a mom who just never stopped believing in her child. And by the time SKAI hit her teens, she had already done more in the entertainment industry than most people ever will. Now, let's talk about how Disney came into the picture and just changed everything for her.
Tell us a little bit about where we're at on the set of Jessie.
We are in the living room. The living room has a piano and stairs and all of our photos from baby to old.
Oh, so what do you find yourselves doing mostly in this room?
We
What kind of fun do you have?
sometimes we like to hang out. Sometimes we like to read books because it's a very calm place to hang out. And I think everyone loves the living room. You know, it's the biggest area in the house, and we're in a penthouse, so yeah.
So watch out, right?
I know.
So we're going to speak about SKAI's Disney era breakout, because let's be real, when people hear the name SKAI Jackson, the first thing that comes to mind is Disney Channel. I doubt you guys knew all the things that SKAI did before she started acting in Disney, especially things that I have mentioned. That era basically built her image. It's the reason that people know her, but also is the same reason that people cannot seem to see her as anything else. Once the world labels you as the sassy little girl from TV, it's so hard to convince them that you are not that kid anymore. And that's something that SKAI has been dealing with for so many years. Before all the social media drama, before she became the outspoken young woman that the internet can't stop debating, there was Jessie. So the show called Jessie had a very solid cast. We had Debbie Ryan, Peyton List, Karen Bra, and Cameron Boyce. All these people, they were all familiar faces. SKAI was the newcomer because she had no former relative, she had no Disney connection, she just came with her talent and she came at the right time. Her agent sent her for the audition, she read for the part, she did a few chemistry tests, and then one day the call came through. She had got the role. That moment just changed everything. She and her mom just packed up, they left New York and they moved to LA.
Well, I'm from New York, so we auditioned in New York, and then a couple months later we got the call that had to do a screenshot in LA. So we flew to LA for a couple days, and a couple weeks later, they said that I got the job, and I was like so excited. I was like, oh, like, I got this job, and I was expecting.
So imagine being 9 years old and just leaving everything behind for a dream. Yes, that's exactly what Sky did. Jessie the sitcom was about a young woman from Texas who moves to New York to become a nanny for a rich kid, and Sky played Zuri Ross. Zuri Ross was the youngest kid and honestly the funniest one in the house. Zuri was so quick with comebacks, she was so smart, confident, and she always had something to say. Even if you weren't a Disney fan, you probably remember her. She stood out in every episode.
Dreams come true. Yeah, right.
The show dropped in 2011 and it blew up instantly. Millions of people watched it. It even had Michelle Obama as a guest star, which shows a lot about how big it got.
So you must be Zuri's nanny. It depends. What did she do?
But overnight, Sky went from being a regular kid in Staten Island to one of the most recognizable faces on Disney Channel. And for young black girls especially, seeing her on the screen just meant a lot. Back then, Disney wasn't exactly known for showing dark-skinned black girls with natural hair. So watching someone like Sky, who was loud, funny, and confident, just made them feel seen. Her impact didn't go unnoticed either. She got nominated for an NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Performance. And honestly, this is a very pretty huge thing for someone still in grade school. Jessie ran for 4 seasons and nearly hit 100 episodes before wrapping up in 2015. A lot of people thought that it got cancelled, but Sky later cleared that up and said it wasn't cancelled because Disney just had a rule that they would have 4 seasons and then they would be done. They did this just to keep the shows looking fresh.
So the number one thing I'm asked is, why was Jessie canceled? Jessie was not canceled. The period where I was on Disney Channel, the most a show would go is 4 seasons, 3 or 4 seasons, and 4 seasons if the show was doing extremely well. Jessie, our show, was doing extremely well, so it was 4 seasons. So there's part one to that. It didn't get canceled.
So even while filming Jessie, Sky stayed busy. In 2013, she was in the Watson Go to Birmingham, and this was a Hallmark movie about a black family that was dealing with racism in the 1960s. It was one of her first serious roles, and she handled it like a pro. She also popped up in G.I. Joe's Retaliation, My Dad's a Soccer Mom, and even voiced Zuri in Ultimate Spider-Man on Disney XD. When Jessie ended, Disney created a spin-off called Bunked, and Sky brought Zuri back for that. The show followed the Ross's kids heading to summer camp. It premiered in 2015, and surprisingly, it lasted 7 seasons, which is very, very rare for a Disney show. But after 3 seasons, Sky decided to leave the show because she wanted to just grow up as an actor. She wanted to try new things and step out of the Disney bubble.
2, when I was on Bunked, I believe me and the original cast members, we only signed a 3-season deal. And then after that, it was either if we wanted to be on it, we could, or if not, no. And you know, at that time, how old was I? I think I was 16 or 17, and I just really wanted to be able to do more when it came to stuff in the industry and different projects, because you guys have to be aware that when you're on a show like that, you know, they have first rights to you, which is understandable and normal. It's like if you have a regular job, and let's just say you request time to get off of that job, they can either give you the time off or they might not, because you work for them. So, you know, there were certain opportunities that I did miss, and I just thought that because I was going into my adulthood years soon, that it would be nice to transition from Disney and do other stuff.
It wasn't some dramatic exit. She just didn't want to play the same role forever. Even with all her success, she never got her own spin-off or solo project, which so many fans found off, because in Victorious we had Ariana Grande, who went off to have Sam and Kat. So people just found it odd because she did not have her own, like, let's say her own Zuri goes to the Brompton or Zuri grows up or something like that. Disney usually gave their big stars their own show, but Sky didn't fit that usual mold, even though she was a very, very standout character in the show Jessie. She wasn't a singer, she was not a dancer, even though she studied dance. What people knew her as was an actor, plain, point, and simple. And at that time, Disney liked multi-talented stars that they could turn into pop acts and movie movie lead. Still, she did join the Disney Channel's Circle of Stars in 2014 to sing classic Disney songs, which was a very chill moment. By 2016, it was very obvious that she had outgrown Disney. Time magazine named her one of the most influential teens in the world, right next to Sasha Amalia Obama, Kylie Jenner, Simone Biles, and Yara Shahidi. That's when people just started seeing her differently. She wasn't just Zuri anymore, she was SKAI Jackson. She was outspoken, she was driven, and she was building her own identity outside of the network that made her famous. Still, that Disney image followed her. No matter what she did, people couldn't just separate her from that little girl on TV. That role gave her everything, but it also trapped her in people's minds. And honestly, that says a lot about how we treat child stars, especially young black women. People love them when they are cute and safe, but once they grow up and start owning their voice, suddenly it's a problem. Now let's speak about her branding, social media, and meme culture. SKAI Jackson was never one of those Disney children who just smiled or stayed cute or followed the script. Even as a teenager, you could tell that she understood that the future wasn't only about acting, it was about presence, personality, and just knowing how to use the internet to make people just pay attention. She caught onto that very, very early. I would like to also credit that to her mom. And around that time, she launched her first clothing line called Nowadays. Nowadays sold exclusively at Macy's, and it wasn't one of those lazy collaborations where they would just slap a name on some random piece of clothing. It actually looked like something that she would wear. It was age appropriate, it was fun, it was stylish, and that same year she became a Teen Vogue brand ambassador during New York Fashion Week. It was clear that she wasn't trying to stay stuck as the Disney child star. She was carving out her own lane. It made sense though, because SKAI was part of that first generation that really grew up with social media. She knew how to work it. We're talking about Twitter, Instagram, Vine. She used all of them like it was second nature to her.
Social media's been a big part of your life.
Yeah.
You know, I'm from a time where I had years where I didn't have social media, and you literally have always had access to it.
Right.
And you talk a lot about how that has impacted you by being a young actor and performer.
Mhm.
So in what ways has social media you've had to learn how to navigate it, given your role as an actor?
Well, I mean, for one, I started on social media at a very young age. I was 10 when I got Twitter, which I feel like Twitter is more aggressive than Instagram. And then I got Instagram when I was 11. So it was hard for me to navigate at first because, you know, sometimes I would get negative comments and just things I had to deal with, which not the average 10-year-old would have to deal with, which was kind of hard for me. But I had great support in my team and my mom who kind of helped me navigate through that. But yeah, so now I'm 17. I think I kind of got the ropes of it, but it was definitely difficult at first.
While other Disney stars let PR teams just write their caption, SKAI, from what we could see or what we're made to believe, just was herself online. She was funny, she was bold, she was a little chaotic at times, and that's what made her stand out.
Hey, Iro Keisha again. She's got my hair done. This ain't no weave. Ask Sky. But she's dead. Hey guys, so comment below what impressions you want me to do. Make sure they're good ones. Thanks, bye.
Alright.
Okay. Yas. Where my fried chicken at? Chicken.
Stop. Even people who had no idea what Jessie was still knew her from her posts, her selfies, her comebacks. Then came that photo, the one that turned her into a meme. So basically, SKAI was just sitting calmly in a chair. She looked unbothered and she was just like smiling from ear. I don't think she was smiling, but like it was in between a smile and a smirk. I don't even know what that was, but the internet just melted around her. It became one of those timeless reaction images that honestly never died. It basically was her saying, you know, I'm chill, but I see everything. And instead of just pretending that it did not exist, she owned the meme. She laughed about it, she reposted it, she made it part of her own brand. And you could tell that she wasn't someone who would let the internet bully her into silence. But fame online isn't always fun. The same people who hyped her up were also the same ones that were picking her apart whenever she did something that was normal. One of the first times that she got that kind of backlash was when she posted a short vine of herself dancing to Nicki Minaj and Anaconda. She was just a child having fun like everyone else her age, but Perez Hilton wrote this weird blog post. Grown adults were dissecting a preteen's move online, and it was very uncomfortable and honestly very, very creepy. That was the first time that she saw what fame could really look like up close. People loved watching her grow, but they didn't want to let her grow up, and this is a double standard that almost every child star just always have to deal with, especially when it comes to black girls. People love them when they are sweet, when they are harmless, but the second that they show confidence or maturity, it becomes a problem for everyone. And when it comes down to SKAI, or when it came down to SKAI learned that the hard way. Still, she didn't back down. She didn't try to be the quiet, polished version of herself that people expected her to be. She stayed authentic. She was funny, outspoken, and quick to clap back when someone came for her. She didn't care about being perfect or likable. She just wanted to be real. That era marked her breaking away from the Disney child image completely. She wasn't waiting for approval or for Hollywood to tell her what kind of person to be. She was figuring it out as she went, and she was figuring it out in front of millions of people that were watching her. And even when things got messy, she handled it the same way that she handled everything else, by staying calm, by holding her own, and by doing things her own way. Now let's speak about her acting beyond Disney. After Jessie and Bong, SKAI Jackson entered that strange phase that a lot of child stars go through. You know, when everyone still sees you as the little girl from TV, even though you're growing up and you're just trying to move on from that life. We've seen it happen before to Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus had to break out of the Hannah Montana image. She acted as a problematic black girl, which is very cringe to say, but yeah, she did all these weird things, hanging out with rappers, twerking on stage. Selena Gomez moved from Disney movie to serious acting and producing. I need to do a video on Selena Gomez because, like, yo, I have a bone to pick with her, but that's a story for another day. Zendaya went from Shake It Up to Euphoria, and suddenly the world saw her differently. Even Raven Simone, who had been acting since she was a toddler. Side note, I really did love Shake It Up. I loved Shake It Up, Shake It Up, Shake It. Yo, I was a Disney person as a child. Like, literally, I went to a boarding secondary school, yeah, but every time from primary school, like when I'm home, yeah, I was a Disney person. And if you're Nigerian, you know DSTV. We got our first DSTV December 1st, 2010. How do I know? I know. And before that, I used to watch like Disney Channel. I love Disney Channel so much. Oh my god. I was a Disney Channel person. Like, what? Even Raven Simone, who had been acting since she was a toddler, yeah, she had to fight to be treated like an adult. And even till now, people still dissect her because she has a podcast with her wife. And people do not love their relationship. And I'm like, yo. But anyways, on the other hand, people like Lindsay Lohan and Amanda Bynes struggled through messy transitions because no one could separate them from who they used to play. SKAI's story was familiar. She spent half her time or half her life being the funny, confident little sister on Disney, and now she just wanted to prove that she could act outside of that box. She began auditioning for darker, more mature roles, and one of them was a horror thriller called The Man in the White Van. It premiered at a film festival in 2023 and showed a very different side of her, and she played a young woman that was caught in the terrifying situation. The reviews to this movie was mixed, but that wasn't the point. It was her way of just saying, oh, I can do more than Disney. At the time, she wasn't waiting for someone to hand her another big break. She started creating her own work because in 2019 she published her first book called Reach for the Sky: How to Inspire, Empower and Clap Back, and it was part memoir, part advice, real stories about fame, bullying, confidence, and what it's like growing up as a young black girl under the spotlight.
I want to write this book now, and how long did it take to sort of put it all together?
Well, for a while, people had always been telling my mom and I, like, oh, you guys should really tell your story. It could inspire people. And I didn't know the way to do it. But then one day I was like, you know what? I think I should write a book. And I feel like it's the perfect time to do it, especially in our generation. So I just like told my team, and we worked on it right away. My book publishers got involved, and it kind of just like happened like right away. But the process was a little over a year in total, with writing was a couple months and putting all the pictures in and then doing like the audiobook. So it was a long process, but it was a great journey.
Did you ever keep a journal or anything, or did you just remember everything?
For me, I would have to write some stuff down, but I have a really good memory, which is like a good thing. So yeah, when my publishers and everyone were like asking me questions and like talking to me, because I needed a little bit of help, of course, for my first book. But yeah, everything kind of just like sparked in my mind and went right onto the paper.
That's also probably the benefit of writing a memoir when you're 17 or 16 when you wrote it.
Yeah.
Because you can remember things.
Exactly.
When you get my age, it's harder to remember. So I keep journals, but good for you.
It sounded like her. It was straightforward, funny, honest, witty, etc. And in 2020, she joined Dancing with the Stars. And this was very unexpected, but it worked for her. She made it to the semi-finals, and for once, people just saw her as herself. Not Zuri, not a meme, but just Sky. And behind the scenes, she was still pushing. She's spoken about how tough it has been for her to find roles. Hollywood can be very, very political and biased, and she did not also sugarcoat that. In her book, she mentioned going to auditions that specifically asked for light-skinned or biracial girls. Being dark-skinned and petite often made her seem too young for adult parts, because Sky, she's an adult now, but like she still has like, I would not say the frame of a young person, but or of a teenager, but she's very small and petite from what I can see. And what once helped her career, like, is what is now like working against her. One story that says a lot is the Marvel situation. Back in 2016, artist Mike Deodato Jr. said that Sky inspired the design for Riri Williams. Riri, that was such a tongue. That's such a tongue twister. Riri Williams is this teenage genius who becomes Ironheart. She was excited and even said that she would love to play her one day, but Marvel finally cast the role and she did not get it, not even for the animated version. The character was modeled after her, yet she never got the chance to even play what was modeled after her. She later voiced Glory Grant in Marvel Rising, which was something, but she clearly wanted bigger roles. She wanted range and new stories. She wanted a chance to grow past the Disney label. And while Hollywood hesitated, the internet did not. Her online presence stayed strong. She had millions of followers. She had constant brand deals and steady attention. In 2019, she appeared on Lil Nas X's Panini video, which went viral, and it reminded people that she was still around, she was still relevant, and through it all, she stayed honest. She talked about how frustrating it felt to be overlooked or boxed in. She did not fake confidence or pretend that her career was perfect. She showed her audience the reality of trying to grow up in an industry that doesn't want to let you grow up. She kept working, she kept acting, she kept writing, showing up, just staying consistent, whether it was voice acting in DreamWorks' Dragons, Rescue Riders, or she was attending fashion events. One thing about Sky Jackson is that she stayed visible, and that's where she is now, somewhere between being recognized and being underestimated. She's still building, she's still pushing, she's still proving that she's not done yet, and it feels like she's just getting started, but this time she's doing it her own way. Now let's speak about her scandals and controversies. Like I earlier said, after Jersey and Bong, Sky Jackson hit this weird in-between stage that almost every child star runs into eventually, and that was Sky's reality. To the world, she was still Zuri Ross, the quick-witted, sassy little girl with the perfect one-liners. It didn't matter that she was getting older or that she wanted to explore more serious acting. People could not just separate Sky Jackson from the character that she played. And honestly, that's one of the hardest things about growing up inside the Disney machine. Disney's acting has its own formula. It's exaggerated, it's animated, it's perfectly timed for laughs every few seconds. You're not acting for emotional realism, you're acting for rhythm, clarity, punchline, and it works beautifully for kids TV. But when you leave that world, it's so hard to shake those habits. Sky grew up performing like that. It became second nature to her. So when she tried to take on deeper, more naturalistic roles later, people struggled to take her seriously. Not because she lacked any talent, but because they had already decided who she was supposed to be. To her credit, she didn't just sit down and accept that box. In 2018, Sky decided to go back to acting classes. She wanted to retrain her instinct to learn a new rhythm that felt more authentic and grown. But let's be real, when you've been in front of a camera since before you could tie your shoes, breaking those patterns isn't exactly easy. It's like unlearning your first language. The internet internet got a glimpse of that struggle when one of her self-tapes leaked online. It was instantly labeled the Euphoria audition, and people on Twitter just tore it apart. Some people was like, oh my god, this is cringy, this is over dramatic. But plot twist is that this was not an audition for Euphoria, it was for the Gossip Girl reboot. SKAI later explained that she hadn't been given any real direction beyond she's young, so she interpreted the scene her own way. But of course, the internet doesn't just care about nuance, like I've said, or context, so they just ran with the whole joke, and the clip went viral, and people just turned what was normal or what was a normal part of an actor's process into a meme.
Hi, my name is SKAI Jackson. I'm 17 years old. I live in Los Angeles. My birthday's April 8th, 2002, and I am 5 feet tall. Ugh, sales rack Sally isn't even clever. If you're going to deface someone's locker, at least make it original. It's even worse than DIY Diane. I don't get it, you know? I'm a freshman. Isn't there something else you'd rather be doing? Like bribing your way into college? Or expanding your carbon footprint? What is your problem with me? I'm sorry. Do I know you? No. But let me guess. You're the heiress to the Colgate dynasty? Or niece to the 3rd Earl of Kensington, right? No. But close. If you're really asking, your look is screaming Hoboken Uniqlo back to school vibes. Try switching it up. Maybe they won't bother. Maybe I don't care how I present myself. I care about how I represent myself. And this is who I am. Someone who doesn't have a spare $5,000 to drop on clothes they can only wear once.
But one thing about SKAI, she knows how to handle things well. She's always saying, I'm booked and busy, and this is always a line anytime someone calls her up, which at first it felt like a power move, but like it was like her way of saying, you can laugh at me all you want, but I'm still working, I have upcoming shows. And over time though, people just started to use this against her, because like I said, every time she brings up or she's in the middle of an argument, she's always like, I have projects, I have roles, and I have things that I have to do, and I have movies that I'm filming for. But the thing is, whatever she says she has never always seems to surface, and it's become part of this internet emo, another reason for people to just mock her instead of supporting her. By the late 2000s, Disney Channel was going through a big change. The Sweet Life on Deck was ending, and the Sprouse twins were ready to move on, and Disney suddenly had a problem. Their biggest teen show was wrapping up, and they needed someone new to take over as the face of the network. That's when they brought in Debbie Ryan. So Debbie Ryan was the girl that they wanted everyone to see as the next big Disney star. And if you were watching Disney back then, you probably remember how they introduced her. They made it seem like this small town girl got discovered out of nowhere, like she'd been gone from dreaming in her bedrooms to starring on TV overnight. Cute story, but not exactly true. So basically, Debbie wasn't some random new talent. She had already been acting for years, even appearing on Barney with Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato. She had experience, she had connections, and she had the same agent as half the Disney roster. That nationwide talent search, they hyped it up, pure PR, and once they picked her, Disney just built a whole show around Jessie.
I was an everyday teenager living in Texas, but I got the chance to live out my dream by being cast on Disney Channel's next big show, The Sweet Life on Deck.
When we decided to move forward and do The Sweet Life on Deck, we needed another character, and we were incredibly lucky to find the perfect person that we envisioned as Bailey, and her name is Debbie Ryan, and she's just joined our Sweet Life family.
As London's roommate.
So I found out that I booked The Sweet Life on Deck, and that I'm going to be, London's new roommate, which I understood from, the audition and the screen test that was a huge role. And I was like, Mom, do you know how big the show is? Do you know how big this is going to be? And she's like, yeah. And we're still surprised.
Again, she was a director of this show, and the concept around Jessie was simple but smart. Debbie played a small town girl who moves to New York to work as a nanny for a rich family with 4 adopted kids. Basically, it was the nanny meets the sweet life, just more kid friendly, and one of those kids was Zuri Ross, played by young SKAI Jackson. And Zuri Ross was a tiny powerhouse with big energy and even bigger personality. That role would make her one of Disney's biggest breakout stars. Jessie took off immediately. The first episode aired in 2011 and pulled over 4.6 million viewers, which was huge for a Friday night. It became one of Disney's biggest hits since The Sweet Life on Deck.
Tell us a little bit about where we're at on the set of Jessie.
We are in the living room. The living room has a piano and stairs and all of our photos from baby to old.
Oh, so what do you find yourselves doing mostly in this room?
We
What kind of fun do you have?
sometimes we like to hang out. Sometimes we like to read books because it's a very calm place to hang out. And I think everyone loves the living room. You know, it's the biggest area in the house, and we're in a penthouse, so yeah.
Watch out, right?
I know.
So tell me a little bit about working with Debbie Ryan, since she comes on the show as your nanny, Jessie.
Debbie Ryan is fantastic. I love to have her. She's a great person, and she has good acting skills.
Fabulous. And tell me how Jessie comes onto the show.
I find her on the street because I live in a penthouse, and Tony, he's our doorman, and I went outside and I found her. She'd been thrown out of a cab, so I picked her up and said, I want you to be our nanny. But she was like, I don't know, you know, I came for a not so busy job. And I pulled her in there anyway, so I tell my parents that I would like her to be our new nanny.
Now, I heard that you found out you got this job in a really cool way.
Yes. First, I was in New York because I lived there. I auditioned, and a few months later, they called for a little screen test, and I said, fine, yeah, sure. And I came out here, and it was fantastic. Everyone loved me. And I came back to New York, and a couple weeks later, and they said I got the job.
The height of its run, Jessie was getting over 7 million viewers an episode, and Disney had found their formula again. But behind the camera, things weren't as cheerful as the laugh track just made them seem, because around 2014, fans started noticing weird tension between Debbie and SKAI, and J14 magazine even wrote about it. So basically, SKAI had unfollowed Debbie on Twitter, and when someone asked her why, she supposedly said, I'm not rude to her, it's the other way around. That one comment just set the internet ablaze, that people were obsessed with the idea that the Disney family wasn't as perfect as it looked. Debbie didn't stay quiet either. She went on Tumblr and wrote this long... Does Tumblr still exist? I think Tumblr should come back, because I feel like the world is again turning into a Tumblr society. But again, she went on Tumblr and she wrote this long post that sounded like an attempt to be mature, but it definitely came off as shady. She said, if I was 12, I probably would be insecure about the lead of the show I'm supporting on. She added that she personally hired the cast and then dropped the line that made everybody gasp. So she said, if I had one wish for every child actor, especially those that tend to be the mouthpiece for parental maliciousness, I would wish for emotional security. That last part, mouthpiece for parental maliciousness, was a very clear dig, and so many people immediately thought that she was talking about SKAI's mom, Kaya, who was known for being super involved in her daughter's career. It wasn't an outright insult, but it was very, very shady enough for people to just connect the dots. Looking back, it's a bit uncomfortable to read now, especially knowing what a lot of child actors were dealing with behind the scenes, because these child actors, they had strict contracts, long work hours, pressure from parents and managers and adults just treating them like products instead of kids. So for Debbie to basically just tell them to like toughen up, it did not really age well. Sure, she was older, but that doesn't mean that she really understood what kids like SKAI was going through, even though she may have gone through her own, or maybe something that she just grew up with. Still, Debbie wasn't totally wrong that the environment was rough. Those sets were pressure cookers. You had kids that were just trying to balance school, work, and fame all at once. Their entire lives were built around keeping up an image for a network that didn't allow mistakes. So you couldn't have a bad day, you couldn't say the wrong thing online, and you definitely couldn't outgrow your character too fast. For SKAI, that moment just changed everything. It was the first time that her name got mixed into grown-up Hollywood drama. The internet started seeing her more than a character, which sounds nice in theory, but in practice, it just meant that people started picking her apart. Rumors about the Jessie set just kept swirling online. Some said that Debbie was bossy, other people said that Sky had an attitude. Nobody ever confirmed anything, and honestly, it was probably just two people with different personalities stuck in this very stressful situation. Both were growing up under insane pressure, and Disney isn't exactly known for being gentle about it. By the time Jessie ended, they had both moved on. Debbie went into music and directing, and Sky jumped straight into Bonked and started building her own brand. But the so-called feud just never fully disappeared. To this day, people still bring it up whenever anyone talks about the Disney Channel drama. And really, that whole situation just shows how much Disney's magic just relied on image control. The kids, they will smile, the parents will sign contracts, and everyone just pretended that it was one big happy family. But behind the scenes, it was stressful, competitive, and way more complicated than anyone wanted to admit. That's why you see people just come out and just act in a very weird way, because literally from when they were children, they have been controlled and conditioned to behave a certain way. That's why Amanda Bynes, like, we all watch how she, in quotes, destroyed herself after she left the Disney bubble. This is someone that was so beautiful. Even when she acted Hairspray, she's still beautiful, but like all the things she had to go through, even Lindsay Lohan, even Miley Cyrus, like, we can see their troubling transition into society, because it's one thing to laugh and be very, even Demi Lovato, it's one thing to laugh and be so happy on TV, but behind the scenes they have to keep up this image, because Disney is all about being happy, and they don't care about this actor's personal life as far as they were making their audience happy. Sky, in this case, Sky wasn't the villain and Debbie wasn't either. They were just two people just trying to survive an industry that didn't leave much room for somebody to be human. To this day, one of Sky Jackson's most viral moments is still her feud with rapper Azealia Banks. Azealia Banks, she argues with every single person. Like, she is so problematic. I just cannot deal. And it's so funny because she has good music. Like, she has, her music, they are so good, but like, it's been overcrowded and overshadowed by her character. So basically, it was 2016 and somehow the whole thing started with One Direction. Here's how it went down. So basically, Azealia Banks accused Zayn Malik of copying her artistic style after noticing similarities between her own visuals and his Like I Would music videos. Zayn fired off a few subtweets that looked suspiciously aimed at her, and Azealia Banks, in typical Azealia Banks fashion, went off, just started posting racist and offensive comments about him, and it blew up instantly. Watching all this unfold, 14-year-old Sky decided to say something. She tweeted, Azealia Banks needs to simmer down a little. That was all she said, and it was simple in my own opinion, it was calm in my own opinion, but again, some people said it was rude, but I don't think it's rude. But the thing is, Sky Jackson was 14. I think she needed to just stay out of grown folks' business. But anyways, when she said that, Azealia Banks did not even take it well, man. She lashed out so hard. She mocked Sky's body and her age and told her to grow some hips and stay in a child's place, and said something about her starting her menses. I mean, who even says menses? Like... Saying menses literally sounds like my grandma, like speaking about periods and anything. But anyways, I mean, who even says menses now? Literally, who says menses? Do people still say menses? I feel like it's like people that are in their like 80s or 70s that say menses. But anyways, she even accused Sky's mom of pimping her out to Disney, saying that her mother was probably the one tweeting for her. And it was harsh, especially considering that Azealia Banks was arguing with a teenager. But Sky did not flinch. She clapped back with, when a no hip having 14-year-old has more class than you. Where about your career? Get one. Then followed up with, I had a career before Disney and I'm sure I'll have one after. I won't end up bitter and miserable like you. Her best line though was pure gold. She also said, a meme with 2.3 million Instagram followers, my memes are more relevant than you. And just like that, the internet exploded. People couldn't believe that Sky, a literal Disney child, was out here started dragging Azealia Banks with precision. Within days, Azealia Banks' tweets backfired because she got massive backlash, she had lost deals, and her Twitter account got suspended for a while. Meanwhile, Skai Jackson came out of it looking like the definition of poise under pressure. Her mom eventually stepped in to make one thing clear. She was like, Skai had been tweeting for herself, not through me. She even called Azealia Banks out for picking fights with a child, saying that it was very embarrassing for a grown woman to act that way. For Skai, that moment just changed everything. She had only spoken up because she was disgusted by the racist things that Azealia Banks said about Zayn Malik, but the way that she handled it was so calm, so unbothered, and it made people just see her differently. She was Skai Jackson, the unshakable child who stood her ground online and did not let adults just bully her into silence, and her tweet ended up being named one of the 30 most influential tweets of 2016, and her team smartly turned that viral moment into something bigger. They leaned into the anti-bullying image, they positioned her as a voice for young people who weren't afraid to speak up, and that same energy eventually turned into her 2019 book deal where she talked about confidence, kindness, and standing up for yourself. And the craziest part, she did all of this while still on Disney Channel, all before she was old enough to drive.
I want to write this book now, and how long did it take to sort of put it all together?
Well, for a while, people had always been telling my mom and I, like, oh, you guys should really tell your story. It could inspire people. And I didn't know the way to do it. But then one day I was like, you know what? I think I should write a book. And I feel like it's the perfect time to do it, especially in our generation. So I just like told my team, and we worked on it right away. My book publishers got involved, and it kind of just like happened like right away. But the process was a little over a year in total, with writing was a couple months and putting all the pictures in, and then doing like the audiobook. So it was a long process, but it was a great journey.
Did you ever keep a journal or anything, or did you just remember everything?
For me, I would have to write some stuff down, but I have a really good memory, which is like a good thing. So yeah, when my publishers and everyone were like asking me questions and like talking to me, because I needed a little bit of help, of course, for my first book. But yeah, everything kind of just like sparked in my mind and went right onto the paper.
That's also probably the benefit of writing a memoir when you're 17 or 16 when you wrote it.
Yeah.
Because you can remember things.
Exactly.
When you get my age, it's harder to remember. So I keep journal. But good for you.
Thank you.
In 2019, tragedy hit the Jessicas when Cameron Boyce passed away at just the age of 20. It broke everyone, especially Skai Jackson. He wasn't just a co-star, he was like her brother. They had grown up together on set, they had shared years of inside jokes, memories, all of that. His death just left a hole that never really went away, and you could still feel it when you watch old clips of them. Skai still posts him on her Snapchat. I even saw one like last week. I'm not following Skai on Snapchat, but Snapchat just sends me her snaps like all the time. Like her snaps are like the payola of the music people who sing and rap, because honestly, I don't want to talk about Cardi B, but fucking hell, I was in an Uber yesterday and I was in this Uber ride for like 30 to 45 minutes and it was only Cardi B that was playing. I'm not even joking. Sorry to sidetrack. It was only Cardi B that was playing and I was like, oh, this Uber driver must really love Cardi B. Just for me to check, and I was seeing that was a radio station. Fucking hell, all her songs were playing back to back, and it was so odd. I don't have a radio yet. I don't have a radio in my house, but like that was so odd because at first I thought it was like maybe it was the Uber driver. I was like, oh my god, this man really loves Cardi B. Just for me to see it was a radio station, I was like, what? That was my first real revelation of radio payola. I know of Spotify payola that literally Taylor Swift to be playing in between you listening to Ashawo and P Square. So literally I was like, well, I'm not saying that Cardi B is a payola queen, but from what I saw yesterday, I was like, wow. But anyways, let's go back to Skai. Like I was saying, on Skai's Snapchat, it's like her Snapchat is like the payola of Snap, because every single day I go on my Snapchat, I'm not following her, but I'll always see her on my Snapchat. So I always talk about Skai and Cameron Boyce. Like I said, Cameron Boyce passed away when he was 20, and it broke everyone, especially Skai. He wasn't just a co-star to her, he was like her brother. They had grown up together on sets, they had shared years of inside jokes, memories, all of that. His death just left a hole that never really went away. You can still feel it when you watch old clips of them. After that, Skai kind of decided disappeared for a bit and she had no drama attached to her name. She was just working and she would just post on social media here and there. But by 2020, her name was back in the mix and not for the best thing. So the whole thing was a feud that she had with Bad Baby. It started over something very tiny like most internet beefs do. Basically, SKAI made a joke on her Finsta about NBA Youngboy, who happened to be one of Danielle's exes. So Danielle Brogel is also Bad Baby. So Danielle claimed that SKAI had done this before and that she was always going after the guys that she talked to. Then boom, it turned into a full-on fight. One thing I've noticed is that Danielle Brogel, your Bad Baby, is always fighting with someone about a man, and at the end of the day this one is always a deadbeat, unserious fellow. For example, her current baby daddy, who she's come out to say is an abuser and everything, and she was fighting with Alabama Barker about him, and she even did like a diss song. I have a video on that in case you want to watch. I'm going to also link it here so you guys can watch. Okay, thank you. So anyways, Danielle started sending threats to SKAI Jackson, and SKAI's mom got involved, and the internet just turned it into this show. And when the moms jumped in, it went from petty drama to full-blown chaos. So basically, Danielle commented on SKAI's mom's post saying, "You should get a hold of that Finsta," and SKAI's mom just snaps back instantly and she said, "Let me tell you something, little girl, I'm not the one to be played with. Don't come on my page with your trashy negativity. Drop your address or number in my DMs and I'll gladly have this talk with your mother." Danielle's mom fired back talking about Disney money and said that SKAI can't be the girl who she wants to be, and it sounded like one of those Facebook fights that should have just stayed in the drafts. But SKAI's mom finished it off perfectly though. She said, "Telling me you're from New York don't mean a damn thing. Your daughter is a hot mess, always backing on social media like she has no home training. Take that mess back to Florida and get off my page." It was wild. After that, SKAI filed a very restraining order against Danielle, and the court approved it for a while, but she dropped it later after Danielle went to rehab. When people asked about it, SKAI said that she didn't hold anything against Danielle and she hoped that she got better. That was one of the few times that SKAI just tried to take the high road, but the internet, they did not just care. Once the story blew up, that was it. People just decided that she was always in drama, even when she wasn't the one that started the drama. To be fair, both girls were teenagers, both girls had egos, both had the internet just watching every move, but that fight just shifted how people saw SKAI. She went from being this sweet child on Disney Channel to someone that people just started calling messy, and that's really where her so-called downfall era just started. Not because she did something awful, but because the internet had turned on her and she was still figuring out how to handle that. Because let's not forget that before this girl could even crawl, she was literally being conditioned and being programmed by her mom. She was doing all these gigs and everything, so she's not really had the time to express herself and do mistakes and regret her mistakes in private, because anything she would do would literally be scrutinized and it will always be made public. That's kind of the pattern with her public image, a constant tug of war between perception and reality. On one hand, SKAI is known for being classy, polite and poised. She talks about empowerment, confidence and standing up for herself. So for example, take the 2020 Expose Racist campaign that she started during the Black Lives Matter protest, which we found out that Black Lives Matter was a fucking scam. Not the phrase itself, but the people who started it. They were using people's contributions to literally buy houses for themselves. But that's a story for another day. So when it came to this, Expose Racist thing that SKAI started, her intentions, they were good. She wanted to hold people accountable, but people started sending her names of alleged racists at their schools, and obviously things got messy. Some of the accusations turned out to be wrong, and some of the people being exposed were minors. She apologized, she clarified her stance and took accountability, but that didn't stop the internet from dragging her. Then there was the infamous $5 MacBook raffle. She announced a giveaway on Snapchat telling fans that they could enter by sending $5 via Cash App. She did post a winner, but people were not buying it because they thought that it was shady for a celebrity to just ask fans for money even in small amounts. SKAI defended herself, saying that it was just a fun giveaway and she didn't even need the money, but the story took on a life on its own.
For a damn $5.
Whoa.
It is called a raffle. I don't know if you guys have been to school before, but I know I've been to school, and we used to have raffles all the time where a ticket but it's a physical ticket. You might get put in $5, $2, whatever.
Yeah.
And you get a prize. Like, people do raffles all the time.
So you got to pay $5 to win a MacBook. Winners are
you Honduran? Yes.
announced July 10th.
Yes, the money goes towards the prize. And then, like I said, if there's anything left over, I'm doing a second giveaway soon. So that's what it's going towards. I do not need money.
Ooh.
Me personally, I do not need money.
And
I'm not saying this like I'm in a bragging way or anything like that or in a mean way. I'm just letting you guys know I do not personally need money. Like, I am very fine in my life.
Okay.
I don't need
$5.
I don't need money.
Once again, people assume the worst, and of course her private life has been the biggest target. The situation with Solange's son, Jules Smith, it was so brutal. So basically a video was leaked, and the leaked video was revenge porn, plain and simple, and she did not deserve that invasion of privacy. She handled it quietly. She just posted, "You live and learn." That's all she posted, and she kept going. But the internet treated her trauma like gossip. Around that time, she was also rumored to have dated rappers like NLE Chopper, Lil Kid, and NBA Youngboy, which only fueled the narrative that people seem determined to push. But the truth is, SKAI has been working since she was 9 months old, literally before she could even talk. She didn't get a normal childhood. Her life has always been in front of cameras and critics. So yeah, she's still figuring out herself. Like, who wouldn't be? She's made mistakes, sure, but she's also been forced to grow up under public surveillance. Every word that she says, every outfit she wears, every post, people twist it into something that it's not. Still, she's never stopped moving. She's voiced characters, she's written books, she's joined Dancing with the Stars, she's taken smaller roles, she's kept a social media presence that is strong enough to stay relevant in an industry that forgets people so quickly, and that's just who SKAI is. Now let's speak about her motherhood and personal challenges. Okay, so here's where SKAI's story just takes a real turn. Like, this isn't about fame or drama anymore. It's about her life just falling apart in a very public way, and her trying to pick up the pieces. In her early 20s, SKAI became a mom. She had her first baby, a boy named Kasai, in January 2025, and I love that name, Kasai. She didn't really reveal who the father was at first. She kept that private, which honestly makes sense given how messy the internet can be, but she looked happy. She was posting cute pictures of her baby on Instagram, making jokes about trying to balance mom's life with editing videos late at night. By spring, she had confirmed that she was engaged to her baby dad. From the outside, it looked like she had found some peace, yeah, but then everything shifted. A few months later, the Los Angeles reported that SKAI had filed a restraining order against her fiance, whose real name is DeAndre YERKY Bergen, and the details were heartbreaking. She said that he had been abusive, trigger warning. He said that he had been abusive throughout their relationship, controlling, violent, and just overall dangerous. In one report, she said that he grabbed her by the hair, slammed her head into a car window, and choked her. Even worse, she said that when she was pregnant, he told her to drink bleach to kill their baby. Like, that's how dark it got. Thankfully, the courts gave her a restraining order to protect her and her son, and that was very hard for a lot of people to just read, because before that, things seemed good between them, or at least that's what it looked like online. So the year before, in August 2024, SKAI had actually been the one arrested at Universal Studios after an argument with him got physical. Reports said that she pushed him, but no charges were filed. Later, she said that they were fine, they were happily engaged and expecting a baby. It's clear now that what was happening behind the scenes was way more complicated. People started piecing the timeline together, and it painted a very sad picture. Around late 2023, she had started posting this mystery man on Snapchat, and she never ever showed his face. She just teased glimpses of him. So many people were obsessed. They were trying to figure out who this person was. She once even said that she would never ever make her boyfriend public because she didn't want fans digging into his life.
Y'all will see. When I get a boyfriend, y'all won't know about him for a minute. I don't want y'all to know what he looks like. I don't want you to follow him. I don't even want you to know. If this boy was missing, I wouldn't even post him. Just know that.
So she would post these half-cropped photos or captions like "free him," and she kept everybody guessing. It was entertaining at first. Her Snapchat was known for being chaotic, but in hindsight it feels like she was also trying to just control the narrative while something darker was going on. By mid-2024, so many fans started speculating that she was pregnant. She had joked about it before, so most people didn't take it seriously, but when TMZ reported her arrest at Universal City Walk, everything changed. The report said that she and her boyfriend had gotten into a fight, that she had pushed him, and that both claimed that they were engaged and expecting a baby. That's when the internet exploded. Suddenly, SKAI Jackson was trending for all the wrong reasons. People were so confused, disappointed, and honestly kind of nosy. Some were like, how did we get here? Others were like, just gossiping. After her arrest, she went on live and completely ignored the question about it.
Use it for my hair. You're so gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you for the gifts. Do you speak French? No. I don't speak any other language than English. I feel like at this point it would be just too hard to learn. Someone said you're pretty. Thank you. So are you. Thank you for the gifts. How did I grow my hair? Okay, so
Thanks for the gifts. If you're a top gifter, comment down below so I can follow you back. And let's get this live to let's get to 500,000 likes.
Nah, deadass, something's wrong with her. Because to have been arrested and accused of battery against your boyfriend and then think you don't let him be like, thanks for the gifts. Like, go heal somewhere. Like, go talk to a therapist. Like, go talk to your lawyer. Like, why are you on live? Also, like, this isn't fraud. This isn't like public intox. This isn't like, you know, forging a few checks. You know what I mean? You were accused of physically putting your hands on your partner. This isn't like a, oh, cute little crime. Like, oh, you know, she did what she did, but she'll go to jail, figure it out. Like, she can come out of this. No, like, what happened? What the happened?
I did a video about this like last year, I think. Last year, like I would say like 9 or maybe over a year ago. But around this time last year, I did a video on this. Like I think November or December, I can't remember. But either almost a year ago or a year ago. So you guys can go and watch it. I basically spoke about like celebrities who had so much prospects, but instead they would end their life up by giving birth to some sort of dusty or things like that. And I also broke it down and spoke about the history of the baby mama culture, especially in the Black community. It was a very interesting and good research, if I say so myself. So you can go and watch it after this. Thank you. So basically, fans were spamming the comments asking what happened, and she acted like nothing was wrong. She was just answering random questions like, what's your next movie? It was kind of awkward to watch. And then paparazzi photos came out a few months later, and there was no denying it anymore. SKAI was heavily pregnant. She was spotted looking emotional, tired, and just worn out. Not long after that, pictures surfaced of her dropping off her boyfriend at a hotel after what looked like an argument. Honestly, it was fucking messy. It was the kind of things that tabloids would literally eat up. It was everywhere on Instagram. I can remember And by November 2024, she decided to take control of the story herself. She did a People magazine exclusive confirming the pregnancy, and she looked beautiful. She had her whole glam team glam her up, making her look put together, and the whole thing was clearly a plan to just show that she was fine. But then people found out who the boyfriend actually was, and everything just spiraled again. So basically, his name is DeAndre Birkin, but online he went by YERKY.
Oh, get the fuck off my live talking about some bullshit. Get my dick out your mouth. How about that? How about that? My ding-a-ling out your mouth, bitch.
And then the rumors started. People claimed that SKAI met him while he was in jail.
SKAI Jackson got pregnant by a man who, if not most of us, some of us have experienced, which is a hood nigga with nothing to lose but everything to give. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Something about them screws being loose up here, they just give it all to you. And it just be the best until it becomes the worst. And you got to leave their ass. But you got to leave before you get pregnant. And that's the step that SKAI Jackson skipped. She didn't leave before she got pregnant. And some of y'all fall victim to that too. Y'all baby daddy these men that are just supposed to be for a good time, a good jolly old time. You're not supposed to marry a scammer. You're not supposed to have a baby with a scammer. They have good, you feel me? Wang, but don't settle down with them. They're not the men that you settle down with. And we just all seeing a canon event that a lot of us go through SKAI Jackson. We didn't want that for our Disney. We didn't want that for Miss Disney, okay? We wanted her to, feel me, be the classy, bougie person that we all thought she was in our head. She did not live up to that. But, you feel me, I'm not mad at you, girl. I'm just a little bit disappointed. Players fuck up too, though.
Can you speak on the SKAI Jackson situation? Yeah, I don't know if anyone's had this take yet, but the thing for me is SKAI Jackson still looks like she's like 11 years old. So it's very disturbing to me that she would get pregnant and anybody would like do that to her. And also something, just putting all that aside, but like remember it, but like putting it aside, her baby daddy, like she's very clouded up, correct? Like she's clouded up. Like, people who know who she is, she's famous, right? Why select a baby daddy that's like that? You know what I mean? Like, who's making her do that? And I think I saw something where it's like she found him, she seeked him out. Like, why would you go out of your way to do that when you know you have other more like ethical options? And then there's an element where people are saying he's DL, this guy claiming to be his lovers, like telling stuff about him. For one, I think that dude's lying. But even if he's not, this concept in and of itself is why I will not understand DL men, especially DL men who take pictures and videos with the guys like they're DLing with. My policy has always been, okay, you don't have to be open about what you do or anything like that, but never do anything in the bed, or do anything in general, but never do anything in the bedroom that you would be uncomfortable with other people knowing, because that other person is always going to be at liberty to say whatever they want. It's already scary because people could just go out and like lie about you. But the thing is, just like, if you know that you don't want people knowing you sleep with men, why would you sleep with men? You know what I mean? Like, if you're not ready for that, why bother doing it? Like, do the work in yourself, like in your heart, and then be like, okay, now I'm ready, and then do it. It's not even that you have to tell people. It's that like you need to understand the fact that like people could know at some point in time. But also, I don't like the idea of people exposing DL men. Like, obviously, unless they were doing something like heinous, like sure. Because for one, I'm like, it is their business. But also, it's like it just lends itself to homophobia. Like when you expose someone for being DL, it's not just like, oh, they cheated. It's like, oh, they're gay. And you know, certain demographics on the internet go crazy for finding out who's gay. Like when you expose someone for being DL, that becomes the focus. And the thing about that is like these DL men, 9 times out of 10, it seems like these situations that people get involved with them know they're DL. Like these men know they're involved with the DL men, and then just all of a sudden one day get mad and decide to expose. It always makes me look at like the exposer in that situation kind of like sketchy. You know what I mean? Like again, unless like they did something where it's like, oh, like, you know, like he started like laying his hands on me. It's like, yeah, of course you got to expose at that point in time. But when you expose someone for being DL for the sake of just like, oh, they're DL, like they secretly like men, it makes me look at you a bit crazy.
See, what y'all fail to realize is Boo Boo the Foolism does not discriminate. One can become victim of foolism regardless of class, success, or tax bracket. Every time a girl with a little bit of money does the same thing that you, me, or our homegirls would do, y'all act shocked. When Beyonce went back to Jay-Z, when Halle got knocked up by an acronym, when SKAI Jackson, the princess of Disney, is walking around crying, thank you TMZ, dropping off a Heat Miser lookalike with money spreads off at a Holiday Inn hotel, everyone is shocked. They're just like you and me. They just got a little bit of money. Acting silly for a man is universal. We have all done it. Rich or poor, they'll do it. I don't know why y'all act shocked every time it happens. They're just like us. Looking back in the teachings of the ever-wise philosopher Young and May, we are called to reflect. Are you going to cry in a Bentley or a Honda? But either way, you're still crying. And I know you're like, oh, but these women are so successful. It's like they don't know who they are. It's like we know who they are. They don't know who they are. Boo-boo the foolism. It is a sick, terrible, and sometimes incurable disease. And all you can do is set aside a prayer.
When Skai Jackson was arguing with Azalea Banks on Twitter, she literally told Azalea that she's a horrible representation of black women. And now Skai Jackson is the soon-to-be baby mama to an albino ex-con. This nigga is allegedly a deadbeat father and has created multiple single-parent households. I can't help but laugh. This is what happens when you uphold respectability politics. This is what happens when you are a bigot. You're a baby mama, he's an ex-con, he's a deadbeat dad, he's broke as fuck, and his name is YERKY on Facebook. Girl! It don't get no more stereotypical than that. Like, the only thing y'all are missing is some food stamps at this point. Most of these child stars, they have money. It takes money to be a child actor. You gotta pay for agents and managers, all kinds of shit. So for these women to have all this access to all this privilege, all these resources, and y'all still end up being a fucking stereotypical statistic in the worst way possible, no, it's not. It's just not acceptable. I'm sorry. Like, and I feel the same way about Keke Palmer and Halle Bailey. Like, y'all got way too much money for this shit. Sorry, if your child, if you grew up with money and you still end up being a fucking statistic, that says a lot. I don't give a fuck.
Wait a minute, hold up. How come I already talked to
Nobody can fully confirm it, but a Facebook post from his account surfaced where he supposedly said, I got this dumb Disney Channel girl pregnant. Skai Jackson and her mother said that it was fake, but the damage was done. From there, his behavior just kept making things worse. He went live just talking about Cameron Boyce and saying, stop comparing me to a dead guy.
Hey, bro. That nigga in this wood right here. Stop comparing me to a dead nigga, though. The fuck? Is y'all cool? Like, what the fuck? Is y'all cool? Y'all keep on comparing me to a nigga that's dead.
So Skai Jackson's baby daddy, YERKY, spoke ill of Cameron Boyce, right? And within 24 hours, apparently he was hit by a car. And then right after, he was arrested by the police. Like, clearly Cameron Boyce and his ancestors don't play. But on top of that, this man's Facebook name is taking me clean out. Like, why would you name your Facebook that? That's so unserious. And then on top of that, I saw a video where somebody was calling this man ginger ale. But just too much going on.
Skai Jackson's baby daddy just went on IG Live and said that he's smoking on that Cameron Boyce pack. So what's the excuse now, Skai? Are you gonna defend him again? Or are you gonna say that he was like had to? Was that not him on IG Live? Like, what's the excuse now? Like this man named YERKY, who looks like Sid from Toy Story, for him to say that about Cameron, knowing how close you and him were, are you gonna defend him again? Like, what is it gonna be? Because you defended him saying he was hacked when he made that Facebook post saying that he didn't even like you. Like, what's it gonna be this time? And then apparently there's a video of this man getting arrested on IG Live or Facebook Live again? Like, Skai Jackson, I don't feel bad for you at all. Honestly, I find this shit kind of funny, right? Because you chose to be with a man who goes by the name of YERKY. You chose to be with this dude who has 2 other baby mamas. You chose to be with this dude who has 3 other kids. And you chose to be with the same dude who's been in and out of jail multiple times. And now he's disrespecting Cameron Boyce, who's supposed to be your childhood friend, your ride or die. What's up with that? And you're still pregnant by this man? Why would I feel bad for you? Like, if there's something going on and you can kind of tell that it's going to be an issue, like, or a problem later on in life, and it still ends up becoming a problem, I don't feel bad for you, alright? Because you knew what this was going to turn into, alright? Anybody with a functioning brain would have told you that when you got into a relationship with this man, it wasn't going to work.
Baby girl, you ain't know I'm good for domestic. On life, we'll both go to jail. Beating on each other. Smile in my mugshot.
Skai Jackson, baby. This is a very important conversation in the black community, within all communities, really. These YNs, young, has been pushed on young girls since forever, especially young black women. You literally are far above, and that's not to disrespect this young boy, but you are far above him. You have options far above him. You chose this out of what? Like, you needed a rush. Because multiple movies, TV shows have told you this. We seen this in the Moesha show. Y'all remember her YN?
We seen this in ATL with Nunu. She wanted to be in the hood so bad with her YN, okay? We seen it with In Love with a Church Girl, with Adrian character, wanting this ex-drug dealer. Like, it's just so fair to us. These girls have this goody two-shoes mentality that they're going to get with these boys and they're going to change their life. Yes, I'm going to show him new things. I'm going to be the different one. You're not. You're not. Toxic masculinity, because it don't give masculine, because these boys are always hyper emotional, as we can see. He talking about fighting girls back. Come on, I'll go toe to toe in domestic violence. Like, what are you talking about? They are violent when provoked. Just toxic masculinity, and I hate that that's fed to us, because then y'all get with these men, had their babies, and now you're stuck with them for life. Don't believe the movies. Don't believe the TV. Go get you a nice buttoned up man.
It was very disgusting, and by May 2025 it all came crashing down, and that's when SKAI filed for a restraining order. So we are back to the beginning of this subsection. She said that the abuse had been going on for months and that it got worse after the baby was born. Her story was terrifying. She described being attacked on Mother's Day, being threatened with a knife, and just living in constant fear. Thankfully, the court stepped in and just gave her protection for her and her baby. After that, the internet kind of shifted. People stopped joking and started realizing that this wasn't Disney Kid gone wild. This was a real case of a young woman being hurt by someone that she trusted. And the irony just hit so hard because years earlier, SKAI had defended rapper XXX Tentacion. Oh my god. So basically, SKAI had defended rapper XXXTentacion online when he was accused of abuse. I've always wanted to do a video on that guy because, like, I know, like, the time I did like a deep research on him, I think that was like March earlier this year, and I know he's been seen as this icon or whatever, especially because he came from the underground scene or whatever. But this guy has a very abusive, or he had, because he's dead now, he had a very abusive image to his name, and I understand respecting the dead, but it does not mean that we can erase history. So if you want me to do a video on him, I will gladly do a video on him. Now, she was on the other side of that story, just living it herself after she defended this one online. I'm not saying that, oh, she deserves it. Nobody ever deserves to be abused. And the situation just forced people to just see her differently. She wasn't just the clapback queen anymore. She was a survivor. She was a mom, someone who's clearly been through a lot. Even now, she's still trying to move forward. She changed her son's last name to Jackson so that he would carry her family's name, not his father's name. She's been posting little glimpses of motherhood, reading to him, talking about late night feedings, and she's been very vocal about self-reliance. So basically on TikTok, she posted a video saying never depend on a man for anything, period.
Never depend on a man for anything.
Nothing.
Period.
And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, that line came from a very real place, because at this point you can tell that she's different. She's more grounded, more protective of her peers. I think she's also in the gym working out, and her story obviously is being really, really messy, but it's also very real. She's not the Disney child anymore. She's not pretending to be perfect. She's someone who's been through hell, she survived it, and she's now trying to turn all that pain into something stronger. It's not the fairy tale ending that people expected from a former child star, but honestly it's probably the most human one. So that brings us to the reality check. You know what SKAI Jackson's story really shows? That being a Disney kid is not what it looks like. Everyone thinks it's this golden ticket, you're famous, you're rich, you're loved, but what people don't see is how much pressure it puts on you to stay perfect forever. Disney gives you structure, but it also traps you in an image that is very impossible to outgrow. You're trained to smile, to hit your marks, and be this squeaky clean role model for kids who worship you. Then one day you grow up and suddenly everyone is mad that you're not 12 anymore. It's like the world just forgets that you're human. SKAI has lived that. She's been working since before she could form full sentences. By the time most of us were learning how to tie our shoes, she was learning how to hit her line on the word action. And while that kind of discipline is impressive, it doesn't leave room for mistakes or self-discovery. Disney teaches performances, not balance. performance. So when she started getting older and wanted to branch out, to try new roles, to experiment with her image, to just exist, people didn't let her. Everything she did was picked apart. She would post a selfie and someone would say, this isn't how Zuri would act. Like, no kidding. Because again, she's not Zuri, she's SKAI. The sad part is she's not the only one. Look at how the industry treated Miley Cyrus when she wanted to grow up, or Selena Gomez when she stopped smiling through heartbreak. Even Zendaya had to prove that she could handle serious roles before people stopped seeing her as the shake it up girl. Every Disney star has to fight their way out of a box that they were built into. But for someone like SKAI, a young black woman in Hollywood, that fight is even harder. She's dealing with colorism, being underestimated, and constantly having to prove her worth in rooms that already decided who she is before she even walks in. So yeah, she's had slip ups, she's been messy online, she's made some questionable choices, she's dated the wrong people, but who hasn't?
See, what y'all fail to realize is Boo Boo the Foolism does not discriminate. One can become victim of foolism regardless of class, success, or tax bracket. Every time a girl with a little bit of money does the same thing that you, me, or our homegirls would do, y'all act shocked. When Beyonce went back to Jay-Z, when Halle got knocked up by an acronym, when Sky Jackson, the princess of Disney, is walking around crying, thank you TMZ, dropping off a heat miser lookalike with money spreads off at a Holiday Inn hotel, everyone is shocked. They're just like you and me. They just got a little bit of money. Acting silly for a man is universal. We have all done it. Rich or poor, they'll do it. I don't know why y'all act shocked every time it happens. They're just like us. Looking back in the teachings of the ever-wise philosopher Young and May, we are called to reflect. Are you going to cry in a Bentley or a Honda? But either way, you're still crying. And I know you're like, oh, but these women are so successful. It's like they don't know who they are. It's like we know who they are. They don't know who they are. Boo-boo the foolism. It is a sick, terrible, and sometimes incurable disease. And all you can do is set aside a prayer.
The difference is she doesn't get to make her mistakes privately. Disney kids, they grow up under a microscope. Every bad tweet, every argument, every heartbreak turns into a headline. And the internet loves to drag them because deep down, people can't handle seeing perfect fall apart. It makes them feel something even if it's ugly. SKAI's story isn't about her being problematic. It's about her trying to grow up while millions of people still see her as a child. And that's what makes this whole thing sad. She's figuring out who she is while everyone else just keeps reminding her who she used to be. The lesson here, Disney fame, it comes with a price, one that nobody talks about. It gives you the spotlight, but it takes your privacy. It gives you a voice, but it controls how you use it. And when you finally try to speak for yourself, the world calls it rebellion. At this point, SKAI's story isn't just about one person. It's a reflection of what fame does to kids, how it chews them up, how it spits them out, and then acts shocked when they stumble. Because honestly, the real question isn't what happened to SKAI Jackson or where is SKAI Jackson. It's how was she ever supposed to turn out normal. Now let's speak about the current standing and reflection. At 23, SKAI Jackson feels like she's finally stepping into her own life, not as a Disney kid, not as a headline, but as herself. After everything she's been through, she seems calmer, more grounded, and honestly more self-aware. She still posts on Instagram, she still connects with fans, but now it's less about proving herself and more about sharing what she's learned. Her career is not over, it's just different. She's done films, voice work, and hinted at new project, but she's moving at her own pace. Her bio says it all: God first, actor, author, entrepreneur. She's not chasing validation anymore. She's building something that is hers. What makes SKAI stand out is that she's still here. A lot of Disney stars fade or crash out, but she found a way to evolve. She talks about self-worth, walks away from drama, and uses her voice for good. That mix of confidence and humility just feels earned. She's a reminder that growing up in front of the world doesn't mean that you cannot reclaim your story. SKAI's done it with grace, she's done it with grit, and a little bit of that same attitude that she's always had. She's not perfect, but she's human, and maybe that's what makes her worth rooting for. So if you're wondering where is SKAI Jackson, this is where SKAI Jackson is. If you made it to the end, let me know what you guys think, and let me know what you guys want me to talk about next. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys so much. So if you've made it to the end, thank you. I really do appreciate you guys showing up for me and and tell me what you guys think about this series of mine titled Where Is. And like I said earlier, I have so many people that I'm going to talk about, so if that is going to be something that you would want to, this is a new series and this is officially my first episode. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to link the sources in the description box, some of the sources that I use in the description box, so you guys can check them out at your own discretion. But I am super excited to begin this new journey with you guys. So guys, I have been sick. That's why this video did not come out last week, because I have been sick. I don't know, on like Thursday last week, anytime I eat something, like I would like literally feel pain in the left side of my tummy. And on Sunday it was so bad, like I was like in pain, I was crying. So I called my girlfriend and she came. I live an hour away from my girlfriend and she came. We went to A&E. So A&E is like the emergency, and I don't know, like I did like series of tests, blood tests, but they found something in my kidney. But they found the thing in my kidney, but they do not know why that was the cause of my tummy hurting me or whatever. So I had to do like series of tests. I think I did my last test on Wednesday or so. So by Monday I should know what's going on with me. Now I still feel pain, but it's not as intense as it was. Now everything is subsiding, so I could not bring myself to record, because my plan was to record and finish editing before like the weekend, because the weekend I had like 2 birthdays back to back. If you're on my Instagram, you know I was DJing in one, the one on Saturday, sorry, the one on Friday I was DJing in one. And yeah guys, I'm not a professional DJ, but I've been learning how to DJ since last year. So I've been DJing in one, and I then I went for the other one like yesterday. And honestly guys, like I've had like the most chill weekends, like back to back, and I'm so excited to connect with, or to reconnect with my friends. So currently I'm going to go swimming, because you guys remember last time I recorded and I was like, oh, I'm going swimming. I didn't end up going that day because I was meant to go with my friend and I think something came up. So now I'm going today in like an hour 30 minutes. We are meant to go for one. It's currently, I think it's 10:30 at the moment, so it's currently 10:30. So I need to record another video before going, and that is about influencers, out of touch influencers. So thank you guys so much for sticking by. I'm fine, I'm totally fine, and I hope like what happened to my kidney comes back to life, because what the fuck. But apart from that, let me know how your week went, and let me know what you guys think of this series. I really do love and appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, bye bye.